being a part of the building process for more than the last decade with the Mitchells, I guess speak a little bit about the evolution of adding on the additions, the garage, and I guess some of the bigger challenges with those additions.
Well, when I first got the call, it was a recommendation from the builder liaison here in Quail West, and I came out, I met with the Mitchells. They were very hesitant because they had had some previous bad experiences with other builders. So we started with the garages, and we came up with a plan. We wound up, instead of modifying, we just removed and started with that. Within a year later, we were doing this kitchen, and then a couple years after that, we were doing a theater in addition to the ground floor. And then a few years after that, we wound up with a full-on master renovation and a second-story tower for guests, and redid the pool. So it just kind of snowballed, as they say.
One thing after the other.
Yeah.
Well, Glenda mentioned that you never said no to any of her ideas, which she appreciated dearly.
Yeah.
Were you close to saying no, or is there something that took more time, or getting permitting, or talking with an architect of, really finalizing these plans?
Yeah, I don't think I ever. It's not in my cloth to say no. So that's never a first response. But I will exhaust every aspect of pursuing something before I would ever say no. And I've never had to say no to anybody. So yeah, challenges, 100% with engineering and with permitting, and then with execution, 100%. Lost a lot of sleep.
And what was harder, expanding the first floor great room or adding the addition of the movie theater?
Well, they were part of the same project, so they were both equally as difficult. So first floor, we had to take out 2-story load-bearing walls and relocate them in order to make the footprint for the new addition of the exterior second floor space. So that was probably the biggest challenge of all the projects that we did here.
And then in terms of having a team with you during the whole construction and remodeling phase, were there certain subcontractors or specialists or craftsmen that are pretty valuable during that process?
All of them are, and everybody that started with me and everybody that is still with me. Everybody was here from phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. It's all the same people. It's a first name basis between the client and all the subs that are here on site. So yeah, that's having a good team is everything. I mean, I'm just a guy that's pointing fingers, but the guys that are out there really doing what is necessary, those are the superstars.
And in the last few years, a lot of folks have had trouble remodeling. One, labor, and two, supply chain, right?
Yep.
Was that ever an issue for you at all, or getting some things from overseas? You're in Europe for doors, fireplaces.
Wasn't too much of an issue here. Of course, when we finished up here, it was immediately after that when a lot of those supply chain things started to happen. Labor has always been an issue in finding good artisans, but I've got a team of excellent artisans that are here local that I've had for many, many years. They're not cheap, but they're always there for me, and they're always there exceeding expectations. So that part of it, we've never had a problem with.
And in terms of time and money, as long as someone has those two facets, can you really do anything to the house? Or was there one project that really exceeded the years it took, or the budget?
Well, I don't think so. That would be a better question for the Mitchells. Yeah. But no, there is two things that it takes, and it is time and it is money. Anything is possible, and I've never said no. I never say no to any client without exhausting all avenues. So that's the two things that are probably the most important. The rest of it just falls into place.
And you're still building in Naples, Bonita Springs, and the style has changed to this coastal, contemporary, ultra modern. Are there certain elements in this house that you won't find in any others in the area?
There is everywhere you look in this house there's something that you won't find in this whole area. Everything that you see in this house is authentic. There's nothing faux or fake in here. When you look in the master, you look at all the gold leaf in there, that's 24 karat gold. Ed Albertson's in here for 3 months, pushing gold on all the moldings in there. All the stone moldings, those are all custom carved. Had a local guy carve all that stuff and then form all those casts. So there's everything in here is authentic. A lot of places that you go to, you have faux wood, you have faux stone, you have faux, it's all faux and it's fake. This is authentic. This is, everything in here is real.
Well, especially in other communities where, let's say one builder is in that community and they're just production building, right? And we're seeing that a lot more since COVID, where it's just, let's get it done in 10 months and kind of mass producing some of these homes. You don't see the custom in every single work, especially like the millwork and the guest tower and the master wing. Were you a part of, I guess, the conceptualizing process with Glenda in that?
Yeah, Glenda would send me inspirational photographs of things that she would find online or what have you, and she'd send them over and say, hey, I really like this, I really like that. So it's part of our job is to read the client and read what their expectations are and the things that they like or that they don't like, because there's both, and then implicate that wherever you can, make suggestions. Glenda has a vision that is like nobody else that I've ever worked with. She knows what she wants, and sometimes, I'd go, are you sure about that? I've never really done that before. And she says, absolutely, I'm sure. And we do it, and it's spectacular. So she pushed that, and then I've got, all the local people. I can't remember the number, how many miles of rope molding that I had made. Had the back moldings made, plowed out so that you could inset them, so we could finish them independently. I mean, just all that type of tedious internal work to make it look like what it looks like, or look like the inspiration that came from a photograph. Those are the pains that nobody sees, but we all appreciate at the end.
And being in the house after all these years, looking back at it, is there an element you're most proud of? Or
gosh, there's a lot in here that is, I don't know that I could pull out one thing. The theater is pretty spectacular, and that was, Lakin's vision on that was, I want it to be better than the Silver Spot, which I guess isn't here anymore, or the best theater in town. The tower, Glenda's vision on that tower, she always wanted a castle, wanted this tower, that dome ceiling, the Gothic arches. Plaster guys, we had jigs set up, pulling that dome ceiling. That is a perfect dome that's been plastered old school. It's wire lath and plastered. It's not, that's why I say everything in here is authentic. If you went to try to replicate this and start from scratch, you're $1,500 to $2,000 a square foot for the authenticity.
And that's what I wanted to ask. Like, you building this house in 2024 with the surge in pricing everywhere, how much money do you think it would actually cost to replicate even the 24 karat gold leaves in the master? Would it be again north of 20 million, maybe 25? Or
yeah, I mean, if you just do the math at 1,500, you're just under 20 million, and you're somewhere between 1,500 and 2,000, and that's a $500 range that is necessary because of the supplies and what stuff costs today.
Well, and that's the funny thing is, a lot of people would build a house just for resale value, maybe cut some corners. For them, they were building it for themselves, right? For their family. So that's why it's listed for 10 million, and you couldn't build this house for.
Oh no, you couldn't even come close. No,
50% of that, So, how much time overall do you think you spent working on this house?
That's a loaded question. A lot.
Would it be north of five years of?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah,
for sure. If you figure a minimum, with planning and then execution, 100%.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of other homes in Quail West. A very long remodel would be 18 to 24 months. And I think this house surpassed that at least 3 times.
But this was done in it was 4 major independent projects. So it was not all done at one time. We didn't just kind of plant here and tell them, okay, you got to move out. They stayed in the house through every phase of everything we did. When we had this whole area tore up and had the exterior walls gone, I had a temporary construction wall built. I put weather sealed doors with locks inside that wall so that they had their space on this side. Construction, when you went through that door, you were looking outside, you were looking at concrete pulled up, you were looking at all kinds of stuff. But it was completely separate from their living space. We always maintained living space for them that was untouched. No air conditioning circulation goes through it. All the fresh air comes from within the living space and nothing out there. We put construction AC in for our side and left them, we disconnected everything so you didn't have all that construction dust polluting the rest of the house or the ductwork or anything like that. So there's a lot of those little things that we do in construction that it's second nature for me, but I guess it's not the norm for most people. Most people leave their house, they move out, and but we did, I can say we did every phase of this with them in residence, and they don't season, they're in residence.
Yeah, year round.
Year round, yes.
So doing the 4 phases and they're here, have you done anything similar to that in another house here of that scale of multiple additions and over 5 years of expanding a house?
I've done others like that, and I've always maintained living space for the client. There's only one time, and it's because the guy chose to just gut the whole house out while we were there doing a master wing, and they had to move out for that. But otherwise, yeah, we've always been able to leave them in. Even when we did the first thing, the garages, the electrical service was on one of the walls of the garage that we tore down. So I built a 400 amp T-pole, temporary electric pole, that they could maintain their quality of life. They didn't have to say, well, I can't use this right now or I can't use that. Everything in the house ran through the whole process. So yeah, those are little extra pains, I guess.
I bet they're happy they're done. You're done with it, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, after all that time.
Yeah, we're never done though.
Well,
We're always just a phone call away.
Yeah, maybe that bridge.